G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is a DC-17 blaster pistol. Ever seen Star Wars The Clone Wars? This is basically Captain Rex's gun, although usually he carries two of them in the show for some reason. Probably not practicality, probably style points, but yeah, this is what he uses, and it's a pretty faithful recreation of it, very high quality. It's got custom sounds, it's got custom projectiles as well, and the muzzle flash looks a little bit like a blue firework, but you'll be firing blue bolts out of this thing, so don't think it's going to be some sort of Institute laser knockoff here. It's actually the proper plasma bolts, and they do actually travel quite fast, so it's going to be slightly easier to hit our targets over range than it would with a standard plasma gun. And in terms of practicality, that's some good damage right there. Like, I guess you could say this is like a plasma gun from the Fallout universe refined into a very compact yet powerful version, and there you go. I've just rationalized this thing existing in the Fallout universe. Let's speak of it no further. So this thing also uses deliverer animations, therefore any animation replaces you have for the deliverer will work with this. So if you want to have a full tactical look when you're using this thing, that is what you can do, which is nice. And the customization options are here too, and this is only the base plasma receiver here, or plasma module. We're already getting 120 ballistic and energy damage, so we can push that even higher. Get a boosted one, calibrated, enhanced, and also maximize. Obviously, that's for the best damage. You'll see the fire rate is 0. That means this thing will fire exactly as fast as you can pull the trigger, which means the DPS is going to be insane, because I've got a mouse, and I can click it real fast like. Excellent. Also, worth noting, the calibrated one for extra critical damage, but it doesn't look like that's going to do that much that the maximized one can't do better. Even if you do get slightly better damage when you're critting with this thing, with the calibrated receiver here, well, you're not going to be getting that damage all the time, because you won't be critting all the time unless you've done some crazy stuff to your luck build. Anyway, so right now I've got a snub barrel, and you can increase the range and accuracy on this, and also damage if you put the commando barrel on. This kind of looks like what they used back in the old Clone Wars cartoons before Revenge of the Sith came out. Those little 3-minute cartoons, the clone commandos would use a weapon quite like this, and I think it's really cool. We'll get extra range and performance out of this, so we'll throw that on. But we'll be using a snub barrel version of this as well, but for now, that goes on. Right now, we've got a standard grip. We can have a sharpshooter's grip or a comfort grip if we want. Just better recoil and hipfire accuracy. No changes here. That's just likely taken directly from the deliverer. So we'll go ahead and move on. This is a power cell, so you can have the maximized power cell. They'll increase your ammo capacity and reload speed. So it looks like, well, it actually looks like these is just the standard magazine. That's quick eject, and that's extended magazine, and that's extended quick eject magazine. So more stuff just taken directly from the deliverer, but flavored a little bit differently so it works. Right now I've got the standard sights. If you look slightly there, you might see it, you might not, but there's a little bit of a blue red dot on top of that. You can have an actual reflex sight, which will give you a little bit more of a zoom in, and if it's a reflex sight, that means it'll be slightly better in VATS, and tracking sights, which tracks targets. Now, talking about this weapon's projectiles, yes, they're blue plasma bolts, but technically the game thinks they're missiles, and I know this because when I look at plasma projectiles, they're rated as missiles. So if you're locking onto things, you can aim the thing, point the target, track it, and then just forget about aiming, spam the trigger, and the plasma bolts will find their way. Now, that's going to be pretty effective against the B2 super battle droids, so if we run into them, we will deal with them pretty easily. They better look out. But let's go for reflex sights here because, you know, having a little bit of an aim with this thing, just a little bit more user interface, then that's good. Right now, this is, sorry, user interface. No, that's not right. User input. There, that's the UI I was looking for. Legendary effect is there if you need it. Probably don't at 235 damage, but there's also a stun setting on this. Right now, this is at the maximized receiver, so we're still getting 117 damage out of this, both ballistic and energy, but that'll actually stun people. It'll knock them unconscious for 30 seconds. It'll actually change the projectile as well, so I'll show that off in a second, but yeah, there's also a stun setting, so if you want to knock someone down, particularly dangerous target, perhaps, maybe a Death Claw. I actually don't know if it works against Death Claws. We'll test that out, I guess. But yes, if you want to completely incapacitate something, then you've got this, and they'll stay down for a very long time. It feels a lot longer than 30 seconds, but yeah, that's what you get. And yeah, we'll leave this on kill setting because we intend to kill people with this thing. So let's do that. Okay, let's talk about actually getting this thing in-game for a second. Here I am at the Electrical Hobbyist Club. I came here for another weapon that I'm probably going to go straight past, but you'll find this entrance around the back. That's the easiest one to get through. And there was a weapon, like, it was like just here. But what you want to actually do is find the basement of this place, which bring your rad meds, because it's a little bit there's a little bit mental in here. And if you aren't sneaking properly or ain't got master lockpicking, then you've got a little bit of trap disarming to do. But we don't have to worry about that. Get in that cellar. Once inside the cellar, mind the traps here. If you trigger the traps, you'll wake up this Assaultron, which not really that much of a problem for me. But you'll find the DC-17 blaster, like, well, mine's on the ground. Maybe you'll find it somewhere on top of the armor workbench, but mine's right there. There you go. And now that you've obtained this thing, you'll find that you can craft it on chemistry workbenches as well. And if you're wondering where exactly you can craft them on the chemistry workbenches, just under utility, so scroll down, eventually you will find it. Now, what I did was I went back to the mod page on the Nexus just to find out if I missed any other critical information that I'd like to give, and I found this. It's dual pistols. So when I told you you couldn't dual wield these things like Captain Rex, I lied. You can dual wield them, although we're favoring the one in the right hand right now. This uses the Juger pistol animations, which I have problems with, because if you want to fire this thing fast, you'll just primarily fire the one on the right. So if you want to do this particularly properly, you gotta sort of temper your fire rate, I suppose. Just wait till the second one fires. But that's just how they've set that up. It'd be cool if there was a new animation set to make you fire these exactly how fast you would. But, you know, you can dual wield these now. That's nice. Also, stun setting. Okay, so Winter's standing right there. I've got the stun version in hand. And she's down for the count. She gets, like, blue laser electrified thing, and she's completely unconscious for the next 30 seconds. Let's not wait, though. Let's get right into this. So we could probably incapacitate this little guy. Yep, he is down for the count. So I guess what we're going to do is shoot him over and over with this one. We'll find his head. They're all sneak criticals, by the way. And he goes down. Yeah, this thing's going to be strong. Also, runs on fusion cells, if you didn't notice that earlier. So I need to stock myself up on these a little bit. Also, there's a laser sight. There's just a sniper rifle here outside the vault. Yeah, that makes sense. Also, one more thing. Big iron on your hip kind of thing. Yeah, classic holstered weapons, it's compatible. Obviously, deliver animations, it's going to be down there on your hip. Righto, so here we are outside of Immersive Gunners Plaza now, and it looks like the gunners are already starting to shoot at some bugs over there. Anyways, you've already seen this thing a little bit in first person, and we'll just shoot that little guy over there, and maybe the gunners will settle down and go back to their normal positions. But this is what the DC-17 looks like in first person, and switching over to third person. I actually really like the commando barrel design on this thing, because it actually looks like a suppressor. Now, I'm not actually sure whether the suppressor thing exists in the Star Wars universe. How do you suppress energy weapons? I don't know. You put a metal thing on the end of the barrel and that just suppresses the gas pressure release explosion. Who knows? Star Wars nerds, help me out here. Also, the reflex sight here, if I contrast it against something that's dark, you'll see that there's like floating text that's rotating. I'm not exactly sure what's that saying or how relevant and useful that is to me in a combat situation, but it's there, I guess. Cool. Switching over, this one is my stun version, just with the snub barrel, and it's got a little projectile that's a little circle. Seems to have the Tesla impacts, the little Tesla trap impacts, which I think suits this thing quite well, because it's just some sort of electricity pulse thing. Worth mentioning that these jewelries, as I have them out right now, their customization options are exactly the same as the versions that are by themselves, the single version. Also, although you won't be able to fire these things super fast, like both at once simultaneously, it's pleasing to see that their rate of fire is about that of the same as Jango Fett from LEGO Star Wars 1. If you know, you know. And lastly, I've made this one. It's got the tracking bullets on it. So if you don't feel like aiming, then we'll pull this one out and we'll see what we can do. But I think that covers it. Just a safety quick save, just in case I crash. And here's what the game plan is. I'm going to jump in front of all of these assholes. You're going to call me an asshole. I'm going to call you an asshole. How's that sound? You'll notice that there's a lot of there's a lot of shots we're able to get off here in VATS. And keep in mind that every fourth target past the fourth is going to be an instant crit. And this is all loading stun rounds, so it's time for everyone to just drop on the floor, I guess. And we're still going. Okay, I think we've reached the limit. Take it away. That's 1, 2, 3, and now we're going to crit everything. So every single one of these gunners, I don't know about the turrets. The turrets are probably going to completely bypass it, but it'll be interesting to see if it stuns the turret, because like it's a electrical thing, so maybe it might fry the circuitry and stun it. No, it won't. I guess that's why they don't ever use it on battle droids. So that's good. We won't have too many problems. We've got a little bit of damage reduction from VATS. The only problem is that we're probably, honestly, targeting the turrets is a waste of time. They're going to be about the only ones that will be able to do some damage to us, but we have to wait for this long PowerPoint presentation of cinematic VATS critical shots. This might be about the most VATS criticals I've ever seen consecutively here, using a modded weapon. Obviously, you could probably get more with deliverers, of course, but are we done yet? I think there's a couple others at the top. No, we're done. And now we can find all of the stun targets and just start popping them off. Now, like I said before, when I've got a rate of fire that's this quick and a trigger finger as itchy as mine, well, we shouldn't have any problem. Although, the smart thing to do here is to probably take out the ones that are capable of fighting back. Which, if you're utilizing something like targeting HUD for your power armor, you can easily tell which one of these are on the ground unconscious and the ones that are just faking it to stop from being slaughtered. But anyways, yeah, DPS, we've got that covered. I think that's fine. Let's switch over to the dualies now, and we'll slow down the rate of fire to make it make sense with the alternating fire between these things. And honestly, the projectiles at this range might as well be hit scan because, well, like that was pretty instant as far as I'm concerned. We'll keep running around the back here. I think most of the gunners we just stunned. There might even be some people that I missed down there, but we'll try to take out these ones. Look at me, I'm Captain Rex. Hands up, battle droids. Eat laser. Tell you what, making all of the Jedi and stuff and the clones fight battle droids and just mindless automatons was a great way to sell us that, hey, these are the good guys. They're doing the right thing. That way they can bring children into a war at the age of 14. That's how old Ahsoka was, I think. Some stupid shit like that. And yeah, she could just wipe droids away and she'll never suffer any combat stress or that. I think the clones were engineered to not have that affect them, but you know, you throw a kid in a war zone, that's going to leave some psychological scars. Like, in some cases, it's probably even worse fighting droids because they've got no fear. What do they do when they get into a combat zone? They just march at you endlessly and they won't stop. How terrifying would that be? And if, I mean, obviously it was all orchestrated, but, you know, if the CIS were trying to win, they could develop some really potent weapons against the organics is what they were fighting against. Anyways, I'm just going to fire this thing as fast as possible now because, maybe aim down sights a little bit. We'll give the pistol in the left hand a rest, maybe. It's weird that they're sharing the same ammo capacity, but I've probably already mentioned this about the Juger pistol mods. Juger, you know what I'm talking about in the requirements. Anyways, let's use a tracking one for a second. Are these actually hit scan projectiles? I thought they weren't. It's not actually firing plasma, it's maybe they are hit scan. I could have sworn that it's not. Just giving out bad misinformation here, but it does look like. Maybe it's just how the traces work, because I was firing this at the ground at longer ranges, and I thought, yeah, that's not a hit scan, no, that's fine. But even if I take out that, I mean, maybe they're moving so fast that I don't notice, but I feel like there's just a little bit of travel time, but maybe there isn't. But if it is hit scan, then that's all the better because we're going to just wipe all of these guys out from a range that is basically infinite. Within render distance, we can hit these guys, and that's bad for them, but good for me. We'll switch back over to the normal now. I feel like this one does slightly better damage, of course. That one. We'll try to get him peeking around. Now, with the deliver animations as they are at the moment, they're vanilla, but if you've got one that makes it look slightly more stable whilst firing and the recoil won't kick that... Move out of the way, dead gunner. Yeah, if you've got one that doesn't kick in your face a little bit and keeps the sight nice and straight, or just the weapon itself nice and level and straight when you're firing, then you could probably find that aiming this thing in third person is even better. That guy's got a grenade launcher. He was poking it right through the door there. And he decided to bash me with it, which at that range, sure, but what were you thinking? Using a grenade launcher? Maybe he was gonna fire it behind me and blow me up from behind, but no, he decided to bash instead. So, yeah, this weapon's overpowered. That's all I'll say about the balance. It's fun, though. That's all I care about. I'm having fun. That's all that you need in Fallout 76. Well, that applies too, but in Fallout 4, yes. Now, I highly doubt you'll be able to stun a super mutant behemoth from back here, but we'll give it a shot. Okay, that didn't work. You can stun the regular old super mutants, though, in one hit, too. And keep in mind that the clone commando units that were on Bad Batch, those guys took like 3 stuns to get. I think that was Scorch, by the way. You see, I think in Season 1, when they go to that base, there's a guy that looks exactly like Scorch, but he cleaned up his armor a little bit. Who's that? It's a mercenary. I'll save you, Mr. Mercenary. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna let him get me in a nerd rage, and then I'm gonna shoot 100 bullets in his head, super fast like, because it'll be a 0 rate of fire, right? And I'll probably do that. Come on, one more hit. Don't want him to mutate because then he'll actually kill me. And nerd rage active. Let's begin. Okay, not quite as effective as I was hoping, but we still got 40 in the magazine, so we'll keep on going. The hipfire on this thing seems to be holding pretty well. And now is the time to use VATS, because if I exit this right now, I'm going to get my skull crushed by a giant anchor. We just tanked that. Thanks, damage reduction in VATS. Now, I'm wondering whether you could actually disintegrate targets with this. I don't think you could. Also, you might notice how it's just using the plasma gun sounds in slow motion. Did that mercenary make it? Mate, I just took the biggest bat. Oh, it's Fred O'Connell. He is... I don't remember who Fred O'Connell is. He's dead now, so I guess it doesn't really matter that much. I want to say he's from Good Neighbor, but that may have been a random encounter, but they spawned directly under Swan, so bad luck, buddy. Bad luck. Alright, so I'm going to try to stun a giant Deathclaw now. We'll start with the little ones as a warm-up. Oh, he goes down. A big one goes down. So it looks like this thing, under normal circumstances, can stun Deathclaws, which I'm not sure I necessarily agree with, but it is what it is. And now we can shoot them with sneak criticals because they're unconscious and thus can't acknowledge my presence. So we'll just fill this guy with super amounts of lead. See ya. So yeah, basically anything other than a robot or a super behemoth monster in this game, just stun them. Stun them with that. I wonder if followers attack unconscious things. That'll be interesting to test out. Okay, we'll do one more thing. Just one more. Bear with me here. Okay, so we've brought back Winter. Sorry for stunning you before. We'll not press the push button, but we're going to see what your mercy is. We've got the stun thing loaded. Don't worry, that one wasn't aimed directly at you, but I'm going to stun the big ghoul, and then the little minions you can take out. Excuse me, I'm right here. And what about you? Stop it. Winter, a little help. Right, so, as you can tell, we've got no problem with this live ghoul sitting here completely unconscious, so there you go, there's a little bit of mercy for you. But, on the other hand, it's a ghoul, so this thing's got to go down. We'll sneak to make it faster. There we go. quick and painless. I wasn't even conscious. Surgical accuracy. And one last thing. What's it like to be on the receiving end of the stun? So, just gotta annoy you. Just, like, mess up your makeup. And now we are on the ground. And that's it. Turns her back in disgust. Okay, so that's what it's like. Fun fact, she hasn't forgotten about that grudge. So, as soon as we go to get up, we just get stunned again. So, we've basically soft-locked the game at this point. Okay, so we've just talked things out, and now we've come to a happy conclusion. We won't be stunning each other anymore. So, I think that's about it for the DC-17 Blaster Pistol. It's been a blast to use, pun intended, and I'd highly recommend this mod. It's good fun. Get the Juger pistols add-on. You can dual wield these things just like your favorite clone captain from a TV show. So yeah, if you're interested in this, check out the link in the description. It'll be down there, as well as a link to winter follower mod. Just don't stun her or she'll kick your ass. You've been warned. And I think that's it. Thank you very much for watching, guys.